There's two things everyone is guaranteed. 1, life, and 2, death. The death penalty causes more pain rather than justice. Again, I will repeat it. The death penalty causes more pain rather than justice. After further investigation and work stated from senators, governors, and research analysts, doctors studying in sociology, and sites dedicated to the death penalty, we can further review this problem. Now, why is this topic relevant? Now, if you ask yourself, what if you or a loved one does not get a chance at the rest of your life? Or even, what if other people get to choose when you die? Would you be scared if this was out of your control? Now, let's check the facts. Some of the main focal points here are going to talk about executions, time, cost, and wrongful conviction. Execution is the actual killing, the time the crime was committed to the time of the execution, the cost of the manner, and even if those who are proven innocent, we will reveal. So talking about executions, the death penalty is a capital punishment, legalized killing for a punishment of crime. Now, where an offender is sentenced to death after conviction by court of law. So a capital punishment is legalized killing for punishment of crime. Death row is when the convicted is housed in prison waiting for execution. Of course, this is the most severe punishment anyone is given. The United States is one out of 56 nations still practicing this capital punishment. For the past 4 decades, it has been noted that 1,529 executions were performed, which out of that number, 570 executions were just out of the state of Texas. That is 38% of executions were performed just in the state of Texas. And it should also be noted there are still over 2,700 remaining on death row. Life in prison for those in death row are not enjoyable. They spend up to 23 hours in the cell, where they are excluded from educational and employment programs, exercise, and have limited visitation from others. Now, abolishing the death penalty in all the states is a solution to this problem. This solution stops the negative effects of the lengthy time spent during a death penalty case. Now, time is a very key factor in death penalty cases, since cases can vary into time up to several decades. Decades are 10 years. So remember, decades are 10 years, and if they last several decades, it can add up. On average, people are usually on death row for 18 years. For example, in Alabama, in 2004, a 74-year-old man was put to death for a murder committed in 1977. From 1977 to 2004 is 27 years. That's nearly 3 decades. For a crime he committed in his 40s. For another 3-decade case on death row, Lester Bauer from Grayson County in Texas served 11,346 days in prison after receiving the death penalty. This is 31 years before his execution. Sentenced on June 3rd of 2015, he was executed. As it is clear now from these 2 cases, the sentence is serving more purpose as spending life in prison rather than killing these people. Not only to mention, the family of those in the crime are affected. They hear their loved ones will be gone and never to be seen or heard again. Would you be affected by this? Or does the family of the one convicted deserve to watch them die? And another key point of this will be talking about cost. And instead of using the death penalty, lifetime in prison is better cost-wise. Putting these people to death are costly for taxpayers. Senator David Magnai finds the average cost per person expected for death row to cost more than $1 million. Yes, $1 million. This is 1.4 to 1.6 times more costly than a prosecutor not seeking death. Washington once had the highest average cost of the death penalty case, around $3 million. So in the state of Washington, the highest average cost of the death penalty was around $3 million. It would benefit everyone best cost-wise to use only lifelong sentences. It could be necessary rather than the death penalty. Not to mention, a big key factor that we need to note is the chance of innocence. So Governor Gavin Newsom makes a statement regarding the death penalty. His statement says, "I cannot sign off executing hundreds and hundreds of human beings, knowing among them could be innocent human beings." In his state, there were several hundreds who faced death. Now, thankfully to new technological development, it is found over 33 people have been exonerated, meaning these people were wrongfully convicted and are free now from the death sentence. However, many spent years in prison serving time for crimes they did not commit. Between 2010 and 2020 of June, 17 people waited over 20 years to be exonerated. For another 12, it took over 30 years to be exonerated. Now, one last time, rather than serving justice, the death penalty causes pain. All these facts and statements come from politicians, of senators and governors, those with doctoral degrees, research analysts, and sites dedicated about this topic of the death penalty. Nobody should go through the pain of losing someone you care for. Your life expectancy is shortened by others if you are convicted and sentenced to death. Abolishing the death penalty sentence those convicted to a lifetime sentence saves time, money, and a chance of killing an innocent person. No one should get to choose when you die.